The recording. Thank you. So who will volunteer to do a quick recap for us? I'm waiting for your hand. Or should I call names? Should I call names? Mary Olamide, how are you? Mary, how are you? The night meeting is not a meeting you join and you're not here. Gloria Abu, how are you? Okay, see that's how you know people who are not in this meeting tonight. Ali Godwin, how are you? Okay. Kehinde
I'm
Kuka,
fine, sir.
great. Kehinde Kuka, how are you?
It's fine too, sir.
Thank you, Jesus.
All right. So, whose network is good and you are confident enough to do a quick recap of our two sections or your key takeaways from the two sessions? Unlike other sessions that we have been having, this one is supposed to build on top of each other. So if you can't remember or recap what we've done before, then there's no point moving on this evening. So, okay, Ismail Joe, I want to help us. Please go ahead. Go ahead and build them out.
Okay, good evening, sir, and then good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you once again for having us on this great section. It has really been a swift ride from the one of the intelligence system, where the key things that stood out for me in the first section is about a standard system and an intelligent system, where we're made to understand that an intelligent system is not rigid. Let me use that word. I need to use that word. Yeah, it's not fixed. It's flexible, it's adaptable, and then it makes decisions based on the data that it has received and processed. While standard system, like, is just fixed, wait for instruction and follow that instruction. So that was for the summary of what I got from the our first section. And then the second section we talks about learning, where one of the things I really got where was asking the right question. We don't just ask questions because of maybe what comes to our mind, asking the right question. So, the mastering the art of learning was what we look at it during the second section. And then I was made to understand that most times we don't count the number, our achievements of what we've learned by the number of books we've read. Let's say how we say, okay, this is the month of April, I'll be able to read 50 books. No. What the learning what learning stood out for at that moment is, okay, out of these 50 books you've read, what were the things that I practically took out from those books? Let me just say, let me not even use the book for this our growth program that is going on. So far, what is the thing that me, Joel, have learned and then I'm executing it? That is what the learning, the art of learning, mastering the art of learning is all about. Not just guests, our coach is coming, giving us nice and juicy teachings. We clap for them, and by the end of the day, there's nothing to really write home about. So we say that what many people struggle with most times is that we learn without direction. You just want to learn everything without direction. Why do you want to read a book? What is your aim of reading this particular book? So, let me just stop there. Thank you, sir.
Wow, 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 wow. This is brilliant. I wanted to allow you to continue going because it looks like we should just allow you to take this session tonight. I mean, that's good. It's an evidence that you did not just come for the sessions, you internalize it, and then you could just speak off head. And I know this is very brilliant. And sincerely, I'm a very proud facilitator. That means I did a very good job communicating what's my mind to you, and that's a very nice one. Who wants to, we ladies this time around, who wants to add some one or two things that or want to continue from? Sorry guys. I told you people that we are going to be it's going to be two of us today. So, who a lady can a lady help hers um help continue from where Eastman stopped? Any lady in the house. Well, for those that are just joining, what we are talking about is what have you a summary of what you have learned from the two intelligence systems we have, because those two sessions are foundational, and because whatever we're going to be talking about, we're going to be building on that. And go and give the small hitter. Yeah, that daddy duties. Yeah, you can say that again. So who? Okay, which lady wants to volunteer? Anyone? Guys, ladies, what's happening? They say what a man can do. Okay. Adams, right? Adams wants to bail you guys out. Okay, go ahead.
Maybe you allow me to.
No, Adams has already volunteered, so I see you.
Good evening,
Good
one.
evening. Are you the one that eat this? No. Your network must be good in Jesus' name. We bind and cast any wrong network. The white rice that is left. Can we pack it inside light up and put it? Unfortunately, we can't hear you. Your network is won't allow us to hear you. I mean, that's so bad. I'd really love to hear from you. Okay, who will pick up from her? It's unfortunate. Who will pick up from her? Please. We need a lady to tell us. Okay. If no lady apart from Adams wants to do it. Yeah, I'm looking. Okay. Under your name. Nwakile. Nwakile. Please tell me what your name is and how I'll pronounce it next time, and then go ahead to talk.
Okay. Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mwakile. Yes, Mwakile. So you actually almost got it.
Nwakile. Great.
Yes, Mwakile Onyinyechi. Okay, so concerning the things that I learned from the last class, some things that stood out to me particularly. In fact, I made a post on LinkedIn that it literally revolutionized um my view of learning, in the sense that before I thought if you just pick up something and read, you've learned it. But then I realized that learning is a system and that it comprises of five various stages. The first one is input. That's when you receive information. The second one is processing. That basically has to do with meditation. You meditate on the information you've received. Then application, when you actually now use it in a specific context, you apply it in a part of your life. And then when you receive feedback, which is the fourth process, and you refine, this particular thing stuck with me. So I've figured out that since then, before I say I've learned something, I try to pass it through all of these stages to know if I really learned. Then another thing that you said from that last session was the fact that the brain is constantly learning, whether or not we realize it. So since then, I've also tried to be intentional with the things that I consume, in the sense that it could just be that I am picking up something, whether or not I want to, if I'm not careful. So whenever I go online or I try to read a book or something, I try to define what I want to learn first before I now start diving into that content. So that's my own take from the last session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Wakile. That's such a brilliant summary of the day two of intelligence system. So you guys have said all, and I can't overflog the concept of learning, because the thing is, I agree with what's his name? Oh no, Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, okay. When I remember the name, I will let you know. I'm not supposed to forget his name. But he wrote in one of his book that your learning power is your earning power. Your learning power, take note of that. Your ability to learn is directly proportional to your ability to earn. Why is that? Because you earn by exchanging value. Today we're going to talk about value. So please, you earn by exchanging value. So if somebody give you money, it's because you have in a way provided value to that person, even though it's a gift. If nobody gives you a gift, if that gift that is giving you does not in any way benefit the person, and that refers to the most selfless philanthropist you talk about. This afternoon I was thinking about the concept of people pleasers, right? And one of the things that I was meditating is that people think that people who please people are selfless people. But in my thought, I was like, they are not necessarily selfless people. The reason why you please people is because you want to feel better. Okay, you don't want to run into problem with people. You want people to see you in a light that is good. So you want to feel good. So if your ability to feel good surpass your ability to stand for what is right, you end up pleasing people even when you're not supposed to please them.
No,
Akinola
sir,
Mercy,
Nicholas, stay online.
Akinola Mercy, we can hear you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Can you mute now? Thank you. So I was saying that the reason why people please people is not necessarily because they want those people to be happy, is because they want to feel good. And that's why they want to be in your good book. So at the end of the day, it turns out that you please good to feel good. So it turns out that you're pleasing people is selfishness in a way. So what took me to this point is the fact that nobody gives you something. You don't earn anything from someone if you're not providing value in a way to the person. Sometimes it could be a tangible value or a product that you sell or a service that you render or a skills that you bring to table. Another time is because someone who the person value recommend that you should be helped, and so he gives you money, or the person feels that the money is going to give to you in a way has makes him feel like, okay, I've helped this person. And one of the best kind of feeling is when you do things for people. How many of you agree with me that you feel better when you do things for people than when people do things for you? And that's the truth psychologically. So I say that to say, or I'm trying to emphasize the fact that your ability to learn is your ability to earn. And why that is possible and why that is true is because you don't earn without exchanging value, and you can't give what you don't know, and you can't know without learning. Are you following the logic now? So if you want to increase your ability to earn, what you do is that you increase your learning capacity, because people pay for what you don't know, or people pay for what they don't know or what they can't do. And if you can do that to them, you earn. I don't want to overflog the learning process, but it's very key and very critical. Now, the second silent point I also want to emphasize is that now gone are the days where when I was younger, they tell us read books, read as much as you can read. Yeah, they are good, they are awesome. But you also agree with me that we now live in a generation where, like I mentioned previously, that you are not at advantage because you know something. You are at advantage because you know what matters. The reason is because whatever it is you don't know, or whatever you think you know now, Someone who doesn't know that thing, she's still looking at me. Someone who doesn't know that thing can always Google it and get to know it. So what I'm saying that is you need to be strategic with what you learn, especially in the season of information overload. I'll give you an example. Now, currently, we've given you Coursera access to Coursera, and there are over 18,000 courses on those Coursera. Now, the wise person will, before they even start the first course, sit down and ask, what do I need now? What is my knowledge gap? Then which course can fill it? So you don't just go scroll through the course and say, oh, this one sounds fancy, or this one sounds good. Everybody is doing data analytics now. I better do data analytics and all. No, no, no. No, 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 no. That's not how you're going to stand out. You need to be strategic. You need to ask yourself, given what I know now, trust me, what you know changes. Okay, it changes with time. But given what I know now, what do I need to know that I don't know yet? Then what is missing? What is the gap? Then which course can fill that gap? Okay, so that's the approach that you're going to use, and not just in learning from Coursera, in everything. Now, when you do that, you are not leaving your learning to chances. You are controlling what you learn. And the thing is that what you can't control, you can't manage. And what you can't manage disappears. I say it again. What you can't control, you can't manage. And what you can't manage, you will lose it. It's 100%. Now, that's why I think during one of the financial intelligence, you were taught about the importance of budgeting. That's what budgeting does. Budgeting is not a magic wand that once you budget, because I saw something on someone's status recently. He said, I spend my money wisely, yet the money still finish. Right? So because you spend your money wisely does not mean that the money will not finish, or because you have created a budget does not mean that your finances is all sorted. No. What budget does, it helps you to control your expenses and your income. And that control helps you to manage. And when you manage it, what you manage effectively, you grow. Okay, that's why it's important for you to control your learning, so that you will know, you can control, so you can manage your life, and this time around your career. Now, and this takes me to a point. A lot of us, one of the things we don't do in the part of the world we come from is called mindfulness. And I think the growth paradigm, or the growth mindset, Shaman hinted on that. Mindfulness is, we don't even know who you. If they say you should describe who you are, okay, let's do that quickly. No, don't have time to do that. They say you should describe who you are in one word, in one sentence. Who is confident enough to do that? Given what you know about yourself right now, they say you should describe who. They say, who are you in one sentence? Who can do that? Who has this ready? Please raise your hand if you can. Who are you in one sentence? No one? Okay. So if nobody genuinely cannot, then that's a problem. You need to come. Okay. Joy Ojile, who are you in one sentence? I'm kind. That's not who you are. Your kind is not who you are, Joy. Kindness is not an identity. Okay? I'm an entrepreneur, and that is vague. What? So when you say you're an entrepreneur, how does that help me maximize who you are? Or how does that put me in a position to do something with you? Yeah, that's good, but I'm an entrepreneur is vague. Who are you? Who can try again? I'm a cyber security analyst. Straight to point. I love that. Straight to point. I'm a cyber security analyst. Now, this sums up your career. So when you come into a room and you said, I'm a cyber security analyst, that is more important than your name, because nobody cares about your name. Almost 50% of the people that in that room are going to forget your name. But when you said, I'm a cyber security analyst, and there is somebody in that room who needs the service of a cyber security, or who has something to do with cyber security, the person picked up immediately. Okay? So you need to be able to bring yourself to a point and give a definition of yourself. Now it's impossible to put yourself in one box, in one sentence. That's why your introduction, who you are, differs to different people. Who you are differs to different people. The way I'm going to introduce myself to you in Nick Hub here is not the way I'm going to introduce myself when I go for a food system conference. Now, the way I introduce myself at food system conference is not the way I will introduce myself if you're in the church, or if you are in a spiritual meeting, or in a spiritual gathering. Okay? So you need to come to a point that you refine yourself. For example, if you wake me up tomorrow, I can summarize myself in 3 words. I can summarize my current goal in 3 words. The first is food, the second is faith, and the third is growth. Food, faith, growth. What does that mean? I work in the food system. If time permits, we're going to talk about that. Your under clarity call, we're going to talk about that. Now, what pay my bills is because I'm a food system researcher. That's what pay my bills. Now, faith is by the reason of my affiliation. I know that I have a calling, and so I also talk about faith. And growth, because I'm committed to helping people grow. So those 3 things is like a summary. I'm digressing from what I'm supposed to speak today. Now, okay, let me bring you back to where we are going. I want to say, the reason I'm saying that is because for you to be able to know what you lack or what you need to learn, you need to understand yourself. Do you understand now? You need to understand yourself. So that if you don't do that, you see yourself jumping from one spot to the other and not getting anything tangible from it. There are some people, they say, okay, what is learning? I could remember about 5 years ago, they said if affiliate marketing is the in thing now. If you don't do affiliate marketing, you are going to be broke. A lot of people everywhere affiliate marketing. I don't know how many people remember that. They will even guilt trip you as if you are not doing affiliate marketing. Now, where is it today? There was a time it was software development. If you don't know how to write a code, you can't get the job. Everybody was doing software. I'm sorry, I don't mean to say that those things are wrong, but then you need to understand yourself. There was a time the in thing was forex trading, right? Everybody, I'm a forex trader, I'm a forex analyst. Then there was a time it was virtual assistant, okay, and currently now is AI. So if you don't understand who you are, if you don't understand your calling, your core strength, your mission, we're going to talk about that later. Yeah. I'm not even supposed to say this, but we're going to talk about, if you don't understand that, it's difficult for you to start identifying what to learn and what to improve on. So forget everything I just said. The most important thing is mindfulness. Sit down with yourself. See, nobody does anything great if you don't have time to sit down with yourself. Shiman has mentioned that, and I'm re-emphasizing it again. Learn to have a time to sit down with yourself. I remember some few weeks ago, someone was like, Nick, not even someone, one of my lecturer, we were having a meeting, and he was like, I just saw your post on on LinkedIn and I just saw you. How did you post between then? I said, no, I scheduled my post. So even when I'm not there, my post goes on. So she was like, "Wow, when do you have time to post? I mean, to get all these ideas that you have time to write." That's because I have a me time. Okay, there are times that I sit down on my own and my wife knows once the idea comes like this, I pick up my phone. Sometimes I pick up my phone, I start dictate, I start saying it. Thank God for words to text application. Just pull up the app and start speaking to it. As it comes, I begin to think, I write. No, so if you want to really be able to give something out, you need to learn to have your you time. So take a time, sit yourself down. We're going to do that better later. We're going to do that better later, but take a time and sit yourself down. Try to understand who you are. Sorry about that. Please, guys, give me a second.
If it's not time, I would have been speaking that time. I don't even know what it is. You can hear it.
Apology, guys. I'm deeply sorry. Something happened and we just had to get it fixed. So I'm back. Now, today, let's go for the topic for today. Okay, we have 30 minutes to go. Today, we're going to talk about something important, and that is what I call the law of net value. I told you earlier that we are talking about value, right? So we're going to talking about the law of net value. Now, let me pick our brain on what you think when you hear the word value. What comes to your mind? You go ahead and type it in. When you hear the word value, what comes to your mind? The worth. Okay, worth. That's okay. Worth. Worth. Okay, don't just okay. Use a phrase to describe it. Value. When you hear the word value, what comes to your mind? The worth of something. Okay. Who again? This your self-worth. You are still using worth. Okay, guys, no worth again. Any other thing apart from except worth? Impact. Okay, that's good. Impact. Net value. Who again can help us? Okay. Value refers to significance, the significance something has. Thank you. That's what I'm looking for. The quality of something. Good. The importance of something. Yeah, 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 yeah. Something with potential. Okay, great. Great. Okay. All right. So a positive potential. Thank you so much for that. For those responses. So you guys have an idea of what value is. So I'm not going to flog it. Now, but I just want to introduce some key concept about value so that you understand it before we move to the law of net value. Now, the first concept about value is that the value of a thing, everything inherently, nothing has an inherent value. Nothing has an inherent value. Value that is placed on anything is determined by the person that placed it. Okay, let me explain. How many of you here, if you see a phone, sincerely, you walk into the market and you see a phone of 1.2 million naira, you will buy it? If you see a phone of 1.2 million naira, you will buy that phone. How many of you will buy a phone of 1.2 million naira if you walk into the market and see a phone of 1.2 million naira? Anyone? If you buy, say yes. If you will not buy, say no. I want you to be sincere right now. If 1.2 million naira comes to your hand now, the next thing you're going to buy is a phone. Yes, no, 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 no. I will if I plan for it. No way. Yes and no. I don't want yes and no. I want now. If you get 1.2 million naira, the next thing that you're going to buy is a phone. That's what there's no yes and no. It's either yes or no. Okay, no. Now, okay, great. Thank you for that. Now, does it mean that there are no 1.2 million naira? There are. I mean, there are no phone that's worth 1.2 million naira. There are. And there are people that will take the 1.2 million naira and buy the phone. Now, what's the difference? The difference is that you have other things at the moment that you place more value on than the phone. So you would rather use your 1.2 million naira to do those things than to get the phone of 1.2 million naira. It doesn't mean that that phone doesn't worth 1.2 million naira. It only means that the phone does not worth 1.2 million naira to you right now. Do you understand now? So value is not the worth of something, but it is the worth you confer on it. That's what value is. Do you guys understand it? So that means value changes with your priority, and in economics with what we call the opportunity cost. Now, the reason why you wouldn't buy a phone of 1.2 million naira is because, as far as you're concerned, the 1.2 million naira, that phone does not worth the 1.2 million naira to you, even though you have it. For other people, it's worth it. And there's nothing they would rather have than to get that phone. So that's the first concept I want to understand about. But you need to understand this, because one of the major mistakes we made when it comes to value is because we take our skill, we evaluate our skill, and then at the end of the day, we expect people to take our skills, to value the skill the way we value them. So your worth is not actually your worth. Your worth is what people think you are worth. Let that sink in. You are worth what the other people think that you are worth. And that's why the concept of branding is not something you need to take light. Personal branding, not something you need to take lightly in the current dispensation we are in. Because it doesn't matter what you have. If people don't think you have it, you don't have it. Oh, please let that enter us. It doesn't matter what you can do. If the people you are supposed to do that things for think that you can't do it, you can't do it.
You do another one again.
I've done another one too.
So I want that to sink in. I want that to sink in. Now that is the reason why, there are some people you feel like, this guy, what are these guys said down? Or this thing that this guy is saying, I can say it more than that. Why is everybody just clapping hands for him or just commenting, liking? That's because The people place more value of what the person has to say than what actually has been said. So you need to understand that. Now, the second thing about value I also want you to understand is that people will not place more value on you than you place on yourself.
Coffee with coffee.
Okay, I'll give you an example. How many of you, if you go to the market and you ask somebody how much is this phone, the person said the phone is, let's say, 100,000. He said, no, this phone is too big for 100,000. I'll give you 200,000. Who have done that before? You went to the market, you priced something, and you said the price of this thing is too small. I want to add money. I want to add on top of that price for you. Who has done that before? Now, even though you do it, okay, Queen say you have done. Wow, you're a very nice person. Well, even though you do it, it's not all the time you do it. Why? That's because the minimum value people placed on something is the value of that is placed on that thing by the person that owned that thing. Please take note of that. So that's why you need to understand your own value as a person. Because if you don't think you have value, people will not think you have value. That's the starting point. Now, the two things I said now can be contradictory, but I want to explain it so that you understand it must not be contradictory. Now, the first concept is that your real value is not what you think you are worth, it's what other people think you are worth. That's number one. Now, the second concept is that the minimum value people think you're worth is what you placed on what you're worth. That is the minimum. That's the level that people start rating you. So people does not minimum, maximum, I would say. That's where people start rating you. They start rating you from what you're worth downward. Okay? So if you put a cap on your value, people put a cap on yours as well. Now, having said that, now, and I relate that to practical applications. Number one, you need to communicate your value. And how do you do that? By putting your best foot forward through personal branding. You need to consistently learn how to communicate your value. It's not bragging. It's different from bragging. Communicating your value is completely different from bragging. They're not the same thing. Okay? Now, having said that, we're looking at the law of net value. Now, why is the law of net value important? Now, I told you that one of the things with intelligence system is that it learns from the information that he has been given, and as a result of that becomes better. In other words, an intelligence system grows and the intelligence system becomes more efficient by use. It grows. And you cannot grow without an exchange. An exchange, and you cannot grow without an exchange. And that exchange has to be net positive. Now, but we still have 20 minutes. I can still explain this. Please, guys, I hope you're writing because I want you to think about this as you go through pursuing your career and positioning yourself. Now, the reason, these are one of the reasons why you feel like some people continue to get the opportunities that come their way, while others seems not to get ahead. Because people who get the opportunity understand some of these things, even though they don't understand it. Sincerely, it's like all these things I'm saying is when I sit down to start thinking about what played out naturally, and they now become a system. That's what you also need to do as a person. You need to learn what works. You need to learn what works and what doesn't, so that you don't continue to repeat the same thing that does not work, and so that you can also reinforce that thing that works. And this does not happen overnight. I've been in a period of confusion in my life. Some of these things I'm telling you, I've been guilty of them at some point in my life. in fact, immediately after my university, I was pursuing anything called certifications. That's the truth. Whatever, if they say there's certification there, I go there. They say there's until I had to I have to calm myself down, calm myself. Come on, this thing doesn't work. So I have a lot of certifications right now that I've never used, and I never mentioned that I have them because they were never useful, and I wouldn't have done them in the first place if I had to go back again to my former self. So I'm teaching you from my own past mistakes. Okay, so some of these things you learn as time goes on. Now, what takes me to that point? What was I saying before I moved to certification? So can remind me. I lost my point a bit there. Let me see who is following. I use this to know who is following, and I also use it to know. I also use it to remind me the net value. Okay, I was talking about what was I saying about net value? Okay,
So you were
so
talking about what works and what does not work.
yeah, well, okay, great. So you need to understand what works for you and what does not work. Now, what is the net value? For example, okay, I was talking about the intelligence system, right? And that the intelligence system grows. And the reason it grows is because there is a positive exchange, right? And that positive exchange is called net. Whenever you hear net, that means there is an exchange. There is something has changed, and it has changed in a positive way. And why it grows is because there's what we call, for those that understand artificial intelligence to some extent, there's what we call reinforcement. Now, reinforcement means when you give a prompt, or when you give a model, when you feed the model a data and an input, and it provide a wrong output, it provide a right output, and you say, okay, this right output you provided, I'm giving an example. For example, okay, this output, if it's right, if you're building a model, let me break it down. If you're building a model and you give a right output, you give an input and it brings out a right output, you give it a score of 10. If you give another input and it brings out a wrong, not completely right but not wrong, you give it a ranking of 5. Now if you give it another input and it brings out a completely wrong output, you give it a 0. You know what the system will do next time? Next time, the system will now delete the one that you give 0. It will never bring that 0, the one that you rank 0. It will never bring that output again because you have punished it. But the one you rank 10 will be the one that it will reinforce and begin to give out. And that's why your generative AI, you notice that you can really identify if it's AI that is writing something, because some of those keywords were used as a reinforcement in the training for the generative AI. Is that a little bit clear? Because I'm trying not to be too overly technical, but is that a little bit clear? Let me know. Or should I go over it again? Okay, Mary is clear. Who else? Should I go over it if you understand that so we can move on? Okay, great. Now, so what does the law of net value mean? If a farmer, if a farmer goes to the farm and he harvests less than he plants. Okay, no, if a farmer goes to farm and he harvests less than he consumes, what happened to the next planting season? He will not have enough to plant, right? That's a natural law. Now, if one is running a business and you are spending more money than you are making, what happened? With time, the business runs out of money. Now, what's happening there is the law of net value. Now, the law of net value says that for growth to happen, your input must be less than your output. I repeat, for growth to happen, your input must be less than your output. That's the law of net value. Now, how does this work in your career? Some people, they'll come to a place of career and they'll give the minimum, the barest minimum. And you know, some people, when they come to a place, they give more than what is required. Let them continue to on that trajectory for 10 years and the difference will be clear. So how do I apply that to my own life? Now, this is how I apply it. When I come to a place, I always make sure that what I'm getting from the organization is less than what I give to it. I repeat, when I come to a place, the value I get from the organization is less than what I give to it. That's the law of net value. Why? Because if everybody takes from that organization more than they give to it, in the next 10 years, the organization wouldn't exist. And if the organization goes out of existence, what happened to you? So that's why you need to learn that wherever you find yourself, always make sure that you are consistently seeking to give more than you take. You're always consistently seeking to give more than you take. You're consistently seeking to produce more than you consume. If you have not learned that act, it is very difficult for you to grow. Because as long as you continue to consume more than you produce, you have a negative value. And once you have a negative value, you reinforce, instead of reinforcing your intelligence system to learn and be better, you subtract, you punish it. So you need to learn how to give more than you take from an organization. Now, this is how to stand out. It's not for the sake of that organization, it's for your own sake. All right? It's for your own sake. Because if people believe that you're always interested in taking value than in providing the commensurate value, you get noticed, but nobody wants to work with you. Now, there are some people that I've worked with that if another person comes to me and says, okay, I'm looking for somebody who can do this, I've worked with them before, I can't recommend them because it is my own name that is at stake. And there are some people I can in fact, it happens recently. Someone from here reached out to me and wanted me to do a tax. And that period was very shocked period of my life. I was not free. I just reached out to one of my mentees. Okay, this person can help you do this. And the person did the work excellently well, to the extent that the person come back and was like, that's great. Now that's because the person had over the years learned the power of the law of net value to give more than they take. And that is one of the major reasons why our country is where it takes today, because we are, as a people, designed to take more from the system than we give to the system. So when a politician comes to a place, the next question he's asking is, how much can I take? When a civil servant gets appointment, the next question they are asking is, how much can I take? You don't expect an economy where a civil servant come to work, sleep throughout the work, maybe come to work by 2 a.m. or by 12 in the afternoon, sleep throughout the work. It doesn't lift a single file, a single signature. It cannot happen. And then leaves maybe by 2 a.m. When that happens and that becomes the culture, the economy will suffer. And that's why it's one of the reasons why in the part of our world, we are not as productive as others. It's just a way of saying of productivity. So what am I trying to say? As someone who wants your intelligence system to learn, you need to be productivity focused. And that means wherever you find yourself, first of all, ask, what can I give here? And one thing with giving, especially when it comes to skills, one thing with giving your skills, giving your talent, it's not like giving money. It's not like taking money from the bank and you have a debit. No, for everything you give, for every non-tangible thing you give, what you're actually doing, you're multiplying that thing. Remember, I told you that the value is what people think, or what people the let's say the apparent value is what people actually put on you. And the thing is, if you don't deliver what you know how to deliver to people, nobody knows it and nobody will value it. So as we round up in the next 7 minutes, what are some practical applications to the law of net value? Number one, I said when you come to a place, don't only seek to take. People forget takers, but they don't forget givers. If you want to stand out, don't only be at the receiving end. People who receives are always forgotten. People who receive are always forgotten, but people who give always they form top of the mind. And standing out simply means you become top of the mind. Second, seek opportunity to let your value known to people. And that's why there are phases in your life that you must learn how to volunteer. People that are close to me knows that I do that a lot. At some point, I volunteer so much that I don't even know how to start asking people to pay me for what I do for them. Because when I do them, I enjoy it. So you should and I've seen opportunities come out of it that I wouldn't have had otherwise. So learn how to develop a skill, learn how to volunteer it first. It's not necessarily that it's those people that you helped that will be the one to help you. No, it's a natural law. As you walk it around, people, it just put your skill set and your value out there. And the third practical is learn to 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 produce more than you consume. What does that mean? Make sure to know more before you give. Make sure to learn to know more before you invest in the ability to learn, in ability to study, in ability to improve your value by improving what you can do. So I'm going to stop here because I don't want us to take beyond 5 minutes. I'm going to stop here to pause here and take 5 minutes to take questions or contribution or any real life scenario that you think fit into this concept we have developed. So, who can help us? Dami, please, can you take me off from Spotlight? Can you remove me from Spotlight? Okay, so it's done. So I want to see your faces. Okay, first I want to start by 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 trying to figure out if you understand what I've just said today. So can you type in the comment section one or two things you have picked from our discussion tonight? And I want everyone to do that. Let's go. If you can unmute while others type, you can also unmute and speak.
Yeah.
Anyone? Is somebody sleeping? Okay, your input should be more than your intake. Your learning power is directly proportional to your earning power. It's the money one you remember. The most more value people place on you is the value you place on yourself. Great. You are worth what other persons think you are worth. Nothing. Yes, that's right. That's right. But maybe you say your apparent worth is what other person think you're worth. It may not be the original worth, but is what they placed on you, right? Great. Give more than you take. People who take are always forgetting. Great. Be productive, be focused. Okay. I must always learn to produce more than I consume. Great. Values change with priority. Communicate your value through your personal branding. Brilliant. Nothing has an inherent value. Great. Yeah, I love that. I think that's the better way to capture it. Yeah. Okay, it means you guys are following tonight. It means you guys are following tonight. So who can give me an example of how practical the law of net value, how, because we talk about, remember the learning framework that we're reminded of. So what are some of the practical way, in what context can you apply the law of net value to your current context and your current role now? Who can help us? Want others to learn. Should I call names? I don't want to call names because maybe I don't know what your network is. But who want to unmute and talk about how can you put what you've learned to work in your own context? Learn to be more useful than be on the receiving end. Great. What you can't control, you can't manage, and what you can't manage disappears. Great. We lose what you can't manage. Power of net value. To boost your net value, your input should be more than what you take out of the system. You learn to boost productivity. It's important to always seek opportunities to put on the best foot forward. Great. Brilliant. That your input must be less than your output. Mm, that your input must be less than your output. Glory. Are you sure you've not mixed up something? Who can tell us how you can put this in context? Anyone? I have 1 minute more. Who is confident enough to help us do that? Nobody. Demi, what's wrong with your people now? Or should I give it as a tax?
Maybe. I think we should.
Okay, I'll give you time to think about it. So let me add it to this as a tax. Think through it. Think through it and okay. Okay, in my school, we have committees in each faculties, and one way to apply the law of net value is to volunteer in a committee. Brilliant. And don't just be sitting as a dormant member in the committee. Be active in the committee. Great. Your output should be more than okay. I love that. Okay, thank you so much, guys. It's been a great time discussing with you about the law of net value. Um, I'm going to write more about this and I'll put it up for you to read. And if there's anything that you miss, again, we'll talk about it later. So we missed last week. That's why we are doing it this week. So in order for us to keep our calendar okay, we'll meet again next week so that we can be able to continue our discussion. It's been nice speaking with you guys and I enjoy myself. I wish you good night rest and think through this as you go to bed tonight. God bless you. Good night. Good night, Queen. Good night, Uguche Shadrach. Good night, Eze.